Hey everybody, it's Stacy. I'm back again with a Family Affair Productions LLC. I want to thank you for stopping and coming back to follow the story along. And for those of you who are new and if it's your first time, welcome. I'm the homeschool mom who walked away from her career as a labor organizer and social justice advocate to homeschool my children almost 3 years ago. I did so because of the misrepresentation, the lack of representation here where I live in California in the Bay Area, the bullying. My children were being bullied and excluded and isolated. They were isolating themselves. It was absolutely horrible. And not just from the students, also the teachers participated. And after three different school districts and many meetings and me advocating, of course, for my own children at the school, on the school level, on the district level with the superintendent, I just knew in December of 2019 when December winter break came that I had no intention on sending them back. I knew if I did send them back, I wasn't sure who would return to me in that June if they made it that far. But I knew that things were critical. And so I started a Family Affair Productions not long ago, actually. I started out with Trading Places for Higher Learning. That is the name of our homeschool. And we have built it and established a really great foundation, and we have been building ever since. So I want to thank you for coming back. And like I said, for those who are new here, welcome. Just wanted to give you an introduction as to who I am and why we're here. I am the author and host of the podcast. I got a story to tell. Listen close because you might hear something that was meant just for you. And this is the long awaited, much needed episode 8. I should have done this episode probably well over a month ago, but the world turned upside down, right? I began to homeschool and things were going great until I made it official. And I said, I'm going to make this, I'm going to go into entrepreneurship, that I'm going to build something that we can be proud of because of all the hard work we do. And we are multi talented people, and we need to be able to express that. And when I tell you, I had money stolen out the bank, I had vendors who I owed, like everything that was going just fine before I made the decision to step up and follow my dream and bring my children along. It was all gone. If you heard episode 7, then you heard about the way that things were falling off left and right. And I was having an emotional response to that. I did not know how to feel. And so I say all that to say it's taken me a minute to get to episode 8. So I want to share something with you. And I'll tell you who the author is of this, where I got this from at the end of the episode. So here it goes. In West Africa, the story is told of an animal expert. This expert knew every animal in the bush. In America, you say forest, but the real word is bush. One day, as this expert was walking, he passed a farm. In the back of the farm, he saw so chickens. And in the middle of the chickens was an eagle. Now, so is a Liberian word for many. So when you hear me say so, they're many chickens. In the middle of the chickens was an eagle. This man was vexed to see the eagle acting like a chicken. He went to the front of the farm and knocked on the farmer's door. He said, "Bop bop." In America, you say knock knock, but the real sound is bop bop. The man inside said, "Who that?" The man outside said, "That me." "You must open the door and see." The farmer opened the door and said, "What's your business here?" The man outside said, "I'm an animal expert, and I see behind your farm you have so chickens, but in the middle is one eagle." The farmer said, "No, I don't have any eagles, only chickens." The expert said, "Let me show you." They walked to the back of the farm, and the expert picked up the eagle and said, "Listen to me. You're an eagle. You can fly. They're chickens. They can't fly. So now go and fly. The eagle looked at the man and then looked down at his chicken brothers and sisters eating their chicken food. He hopped off the man's arm and started eating the food. The farmer laughed at the expert and said, I told you, I don't have any eagles. The expert was ashamed and vexed and said, I'm coming to go. He left the farm. The next day he came back so early in the morning that God was not awake yet. He knocked at the farmer's door. The farmer was so frustrated, but he let him in. He walked to the back of the farm and picked up the eagle. He climbed on top of the barn. He told the eagle, all your life, people have treated you like a chicken. They taught you to talk like a chicken and eat like a chicken and think like a chicken. But you are not a chicken. You are an eagle. You can fly. Now, so fly. At that moment, the sun started to rise. The animal expert said, you see how far that sun is? You can go there. Now fly. The eagle thought, this man will come bother me every day until I try this thing. So let me try. He stretched his wings. And my people, you have never seen such a beautiful sight. The eagle flew toward the sun, and the farmer never saw him again. So I read that to you so that you understand the meaning of the title of this episode. You're not a chicken. You're an eagle. You can fly. Right? And so as I read that, I was moved. And I thought about it. I said, the farmer, he thought it was funny. He knew exactly who it was, that it was an eagle. But he had already trained the eagle. Like the expert said, the animal expert said, you've been told all your life. You've been taught to talk like a chicken, eat like a chicken, walk like a chicken. But you're an eagle. So when I pondered that, I said, the farmer never saw him again. But you know who else never saw him again? The other chickens. Well, he wasn't a chicken. So the chickens, they never saw him again either. See, the chickens knew that was not a chicken. It was the eagle who didn't know who he was, or she. The eagle was unaware of their own greatness. Everybody else around them knew. And so as I thought about that, man, when I tell you, it took me back to all that I've experienced since I began to homeschool my children, and even before that for me, right? If you've listened to episodes 1 through 7, then you know I had a very challenging and difficult past, right? I got into some things young that did not serve me well, and I was blocked out of the above ground economy for a very long time because I had a felony warrant that held me down for over 20 years. And if you haven't heard episodes 1 through 7, episodes 1 through 5 are on, no, 1 through 6 are on Acast, but you can find all the episodes 1 through and including this one on YouTube at A Family Affair Productions LLC. And then also I have episode 7, and probably I'll upload this one to our Facebook at A Family Affair Productions LLC. And so as I began to think about even before this, but I just kind of brought it up to when I started to homeschool my kids, we had been told we were chickens the whole time. And then told we was dirty chickens at that, right? Kids being mistreated, treated poorly. I'm at work with all the microaggressions, trying, to stand on my own ground, on my own terms. I'm not about to be the work mammy. I'm not about to be the work clown. I'm not about to be the one at work who everybody go trauma dump on. No, that ain't me, and this ain't that. I came to work. Let's do the work, right? And so as I thought about this eagle standing around these chickens, and that the animal expert said they can't fly, you can. How many times, think about your life. and your experience. Even right now, you ain't got to go back far as I can, right? I can go back 20, 30 years. You don't have to go back that far. Heck, you may not be but 20 or 30 years old. But I bet you can go back in the last 3, 2, 3, 4 years. Even if you 18, you can go back, right? If you 15, you can go back, right? It's a human experience, not an age experience. But how many times were you surrounded with people, by people who could see that you were not a chicken, but you was the only one because you had been taught that you were a chicken? So I thought about when I started to homeschool my children, it was almost like we were invisible. Like the people closest to me and around me, it's like I'll take you back. Have you ever wore something or got a new haircut or a new hairdo and you went out and you felt good? When you was at home, you was dressed up, you was fly, you was taking pictures. You was like, okay, I'm liking this. And you went out and you went to school, work, wherever you were going, and the people around you pretended like nothing was different. They walked past like they didn't even see your new shoes, your new hair, your new haircut. They trimmed your beard, fill in the blank. That's how I felt when I began to homeschool my children. But you know why? Because it was the taking off for the sun. It was the taking off, just like that eagle who looked up at the sun and took off and just leapt, right? But for me, and I don't know, maybe many of you, I didn't have anybody to come and tell me, you're an eagle. They can't fly, they're chickens. I know you've been told to taught to walk like a chicken, talk like a chicken, and eat like a chicken, but you're not a chicken. You're an eagle. You can fly. So fly, right? So I think that I shared that with you all because one, I think that somebody else needed to hear that besides me. You can fly. You're not a chicken. You're an eagle, right? And then also to look around and peep game at who's in your circle. Because what I found is a couple of things. One, when I started homeschooling, I didn't have the titles that I had, right? I wasn't the organizer, the save the dayer, the fill in the blank, the advocate, social justice, running around with my fist up in the air, right? And because my beginnings were oh so humble, and it took until I was well into my 40s to even have a career like that and make that type of money and have that type of health insurance and have that type of prestige, that without that, I didn't see the value. I did not see the value in what I have. I realize it today, but I didn't then because the value was tied up in all the things that the chickens around me could nod their head and say, oh, yeah, you doing good. Yup, that's good. Right? You doing good. Okay, you work for who? Oh, okay. Your kids go to school where? Oh, they go to a good school, right? And so without that, I couldn't see the value. I was caught up in that. So the very first semester of our homeschool, it was tough. It was tough because I was dealing with my children's emotional breakdown. Um, and it was very subtle. It was very subtle. It wasn't like they were crying every day. No, didn't shed a tear. But I could watch and listen and look at the sadness in their eyes. And there was no help for us. There was no representation. When I went to calling around, heck, I called over to Stanford and nobody sounded like me or looked like me. I said, well, shoot, this ain't gonna help. This the same person. You can't be the rejector, the bully, and the helper too, right? And so as I begin to think about after reading that passage, and again, I'll share where I got it from with you at the end, I began to take a look at these things as a homeschool mom, as an entrepreneur now, and I realized that the value in being able to be one stable for a long period of time because we hadn't had stability. We had bouts of homelessness and back and forth and temporary this and temporary that. But it just worked out through the grace of the Most High that when we started to homeschool, we are stable. And so beginning to establish, build, and work through all those things that we couldn't do when we were walking around being chickens, when other people got a chance to say, well, this is the value. The value of you is $68,000. The value of them is you got an A, you got a B, you got a C. That's your value, right? And so through that very hurtful process of feeling invisible, of nobody saying, hey, you an eagle, you can fly, right? Of everybody else, uh, like literally being invisible, like no one seeing us. So the mistake I made is I began to seek value on my own, not understanding that the value was already here. The value was in the courage to do something different that had not been done before, not in my family. And if African, and according to thinkimpact.com, which is a website that does statistics about homeschooling and then they compare it to public school, only 8% of African Americans homeschool their children. So I am literally part of an elite group. Right? That's that value right there, right? And doing something that everybody ain't doing. This is not for the faint at heart. I've said it before and I'll say it again. And I'm in the Bay? Come on now. Out of that 8%, I'm probably 0.5%, right? And so, in realizing that the invisible piece, meaning people walking past you like you ain't changed your hair, you went from being just having natural hair to having weave down your back and you looking as fly as ever and ain't nobody saying nothing, right? Or you go from having a full beard to trimming it down to a goatee and nobody notices. You don't understand what I mean when I say people walking around like, what? Nope, didn't even see it. Sorry. Those are the chickens. You're the eagle. You can fly, right? And so as I began to look at how I started to try to add value, I started doing things that were not to our benefit, right? What do I mean? Well, there's nothing wrong with helping other people. There's not. If you minding your business first and foremost. But I began to make one I did not appreciate. I was not thankful for what I was given. I felt rejected. I felt that we were rejected, and we were. But I didn't see us as valiant warriors. I didn't see that we stood in the face of adversity and we did not conform. We did not compromise. We stood on what we believed and we did so unapologetically. And you better believe the rejection was a slap in the face for doing that, right? And so because I didn't see that piece, because I didn't have that piece, meaning PIECE, that part of it, because I didn't have the time and space. I was in the middle of a rat race and I came out of the rat race. Imagine running top speed and all the time. And then you finally get somewhere and stop running. The first thing you're going to do is huff and puff and try to catch your breath. But instead of embracing the breath catching part, I started to mind other people's business. I started to look and say, well, I can add value to me by doing this for you, right? Oh no, we don't need anything. I'm going to do this for you. You're more important. That's the value. And people will receive that when you give it. They're like, oh, thank you. You don't even know you're an eagle. Thank you, chicken. Go ahead, eat more, right? Eat your chicken food. And so I did that for quite some time. I got to be honest. I got to be honest. And every time it ended so poorly, like every time. It just was on that last time that it was so, so bad that I didn't think we was going to get up from that. I was ready to give up on everything, on even thinking about all the plans that we had. Like last school year, my son was going into ninth grade. And I was like, okay, I'm going to teach these kids how to ride the bus on their own. Went to, down to the bus company and got them student bus cards and went to the bank, got them accounts, went to the DMV, got them IDs and da 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 da. But I still didn't see the value. I was walking around blind. I was still confused about the value was already there. But other people will see your value. And they'll allow you to use that value to serve them well, and they will not reciprocate. Because over a period of time, you become the person that's the giver, and that's your job. You're the one who supports me. You encourage me. You tell me to fly, even though I might be a chicken. and you're the eagle, and you're telling me to fly. And I'm knowing good and well, please, I can't fly. You the one that can fly. But I ain't going to tell you, because then you're not going to be here to tell me that I can fly. And I started taking these little steps with my chicken wings. You know how chicken wings is? If you ain't never had none, go to Church's, KFC, the grocery store. Chicken wings are not that long. They don't have a wingspan as an eagle. 6 foot wingspan, some even bigger or longer. And so you become the person that's sowing and pouring into others, and they're going to receive it openly. They're going to receive your sacrifice. And that sacrifice is that you're not sowing that into you. You're not even minding your own business. You over there minding somebody else's business. And that's what I did. And I did it over and over and over again to the point where my children were fending for themselves. Because it went from me minding somebody else's business 10%, I'll say 20% of the time, in my own business 80%, to me being 20%, and the other people in my life being 80%, even more. And they were still demanding. And they were looking at me when I said, hey, I want some reciprocation here. They said, what? Are you kidding me? That's not how this goes. And I mean, literally almost verbatim. The actual term was dead ass. Like, you want something back? Are you kidding me? But it doesn't, and I'm not pointing fingers at anyone but myself. See, I have to use an I statement. I was the one who set that standard. I was the one who, come on, baby. I'm sorry, y'all. My baby is cooking meatloaf. We're doing meal prep. Anyway, I was the one who started that because I wasn't minding my own business because I didn't see the value, right? My eyes were closed. Just turn the oven off. We'll do the rest in a minute. Thank you. My eyes were closed because the value I gave, it was pseudo value. I began to put value on things that had no value at all. How valuable is it to give until you have nothing left? How valuable is it to feed somebody at your table when the food gonna they knock your table over and walk away and tell you you suck? How valuable is that to you or to me, to an individual, right? And so on that last go round, it was pretty bad. I had given so much. My kids, I was like, okay, they have a chess requirement. I make them play chess twice a week. Not make them. Well, I do make them because they like whatever. I taught them. And so the thing is to play chess because chess is a thinking person's game. And I want them to be free thinkers. I want them to think their way through, to strategize, to not just walk into something without thinking like their mother has such a propensity to do all the time. I'm a work in progress still. And so I remember fussing at them for not following through with the things that they were supposed to do. They're supposed to do their Spanish tutor, and then do Spanish outside of when they're meet with their tutor, and then to do chess. And oh, I was fussing. When I look back now, I am so ashamed because I was somewhere else minding somebody else's business, not minding my own, because I didn't see the value in what I had. It wasn't until we was falling apart and I looked up and everything that we had planned, all the field trips, the bus rides, them learning how to GPS their way around the city and to the malls. And that never happened. It never happened. Because right away, as soon as school started, 2 days later, I started minding somebody else's business. As if I didn't have business of my own. It was absolutely disgusting. And I have to call it for what it is, right? And so at the end of that, then I had to play catch up. I felt like I had to play catch up once I realized what was happening, what happened, and the mistake that I continually made. But it is only by the grace of the Most High and the stability He's given me was I able, and am I currently able, to sit back and reflect and say, never again. Never again. The value is already here. The pseudo value, here, I'm giving you money. I'm buying clothes for people when my kids need clothes, and we sitting with the same thing. And here I am on a credit card buying stuff for somebody else that I'm going to pay interest on. And not even for my own. I'm so busy helping other people. You know how ridiculous that sounds? Listen, I know. I'm just saying it out loud. Maybe this will move somebody to take a glance and say, wait a minute, that sounds like me. Let me pump the brakes right here, right? All the things that I've been given, all the space to create, to establish, to build, to be restored, right? I couldn't handle it at first because it was outside of what I even dared to imagine, even dared to dream. I didn't see it as a way, uh, I just didn't see it as a way to turn into somebody else, as a way to freedom, the thing that I had desired all that time. And if you heard my story, then you understand what I mean when I say I desired to be here all that time. I just didn't know it. I thought being here, being stable, being free to create, to build, having established something, a foundation. What? I thought that was in the jobs. I thought that was in the titles. I thought that was in the careers. And don't get me wrong now. You got to have, I have more than one stream of income and I'm working on it. My goal is seven. I ain't up to but three and they moving slow. Right? They moving slow. It's like, okay, right? Everything is not like where I want it to be, but it's definitely not where I was when I was out there minding and working for other folks and not minding my business and watching my children slowly deteriorate. But all that time, I worked all that stuff, places, all those places. I went to school, almost got a degree. I went to this trade school. I went to that certification, right? Got a number of certifications, probably about a semester away from a bachelor's degree. And I did all of that only to find that what I was looking for is right here. I'm so thankful that I see now that I have completely changed everything around. Yesterday was our last homeschool coaching class. I had, for the last 2 months, attempted to host a homeschool coaching class because I know for me and my family, for me, like that my kids follow me, it was absolutely uncharted territory. All that I've said to you is an example, or yeah, an example of how uncharted the territory was, to the point I couldn't appreciate it because I felt rejected, because I felt we were thrown into it. I had no other choice. When I actually did, I was supposed to homeschool. I was never supposed to send them to the school that fall, but I was chasing money and chasing a position. Something else that chickens were gonna nod at me and say, "You go, girl, you doing that." Right? Here I am, an eagle with the wingspan of a full grown man. I could soar to the sun. And I'm sitting around with chickens who can't get off the ground looking for their approval. Shameful. Shameful. You hear me? But I tell you, whew, how things have changed. I wasn't supposed to send them kids in there for that. I did that, right? And finally, we found representation even in our health and wellness journey right here in the Bay. And everything is about timing because the person who we meet with, they didn't even start working at the place we're going to till a year ago. We're creating a network now. We're establishing a little network of people, right? And not only black people, but other people too, right? The world is filled with good people, right? And so it doesn't have to be your story, right? Like I said, the homeschool coaching class, I wanted to be, and I still do want to be what I didn't have. I want to help, especially African American people who find that the public school system is not working for them, who come to the realization that these people are only exploiting my children. If they can't exploit them, then they're going to tear them down. Teach them how to be second class people, how to take back seats to others, or how to prostitute themselves. And when I say prostitute, I don't mean like on the corner prostitute, but to take the definition of prostitute is also to take your gifts and talents and use them in a way that is not that will not serve you well. It is not meant for you to use them in that way. And so I want to be that guide for people. I want to coach people. I want to support them. I want to help them. And not like in a I'm not minding my business way, but to make this my business. And I mean literally my entrepreneurial venture, to coach other people so that they can avoid some of those pitfalls. So that maybe it doesn't take them 2 years to firmly establish a foundation in their homeschool. But I'm telling you, my children are absolutely brilliant because I did an interview with them at the end of the school year, and I was so very impressed as they detailed what their school year was like, their expectations versus reality, what they would like to do better, what they did well, and which what they would have liked to have done better and will do better moving forward. And so I realized even through all the drama, the ups and downs, the left turns, the pseudo uh, values, the putting value where it's not even value, like that's not value, that's foolish, right? All of that, the trial and error, the ups and downs, the emotional lows and emotional highs, um, and all of the things that we experience, that they are still doing well. And I have done an awesome job of teaching them. I am an excellent educator. Just some things I've learned the hard way. So my 30 years of parenting experience, they've served me well. Good, bad, and ugly, right? And so here we are. I wanted to share um, that African parable or proverb or story with you, uh, because it moved me so much and it was just right on time. That's that just in the nick of time moment because I experienced that, you know, um, after going so far off and not appreciate what I have to the point I almost lost it. I wanted to give up. I did. I did. But what came out of it in the end was so much more, right? Me feeling like I needed to catch up. That's not the first time I felt that. So I was able to process that really well and say, okay, you don't need to catch up. What you need to do is change. What you need to do is take a good look at you. Give yourself some credit for what you've done and what you're doing right now, right? Like, look at it for what it is. This is absolutely amazing for you to come from where you've come from and for you to say, I'm not going to do any of these things that don't work anymore. I'm not going to have these relationships that don't serve me well. I don't know. I don't care if it's business, if it's, professional, if it's personal. I'm just not going to do it anymore. And I'm going to focus on what I've been given and I'm going to build on that. I'm going to appreciate what I have. I'm going to see the value in me at all of my experiences, positive, negative, and everything in between. I'm going to build this business from the ground up, even if it's moving slow. Even if everything flipped upside down, well, it should. Because I just spread my wings to fly. Of course, there's going to be some backwind for that. And that's okay. Because now it's turning around, right? It's not where I want it to be just yet, but oh, baby, listen, it's just the beginning. It's not a race. I can take my time. So, as I promised, I'm going to share with you the author and the title of the book for which my reading came. The title of the book is Homecoming: Overcome Fear and Trauma to Reclaim Your Whole Authentic Self. Homecoming by Thelma Bryant, PhD. This is a sister out of Baltimore. And someone gifted me this book who said to me, I see you. I just want you to know I see you. And it changed my whole perspective. I thought this person has not known me anytime. Not that long. But they said to me, I see you. And it was a welcoming thing to hear. So as I wind this up, as I end this here, I just want to tell you, I see you. Thank you for stopping by.